When you thought it was over, we started it over. Just a different chapter, but still part of the story. Spirit of a patriot, but the heart of a soldier. If you wasn't part of the grind, you can't be part of the glory. We right here, we ain't going nowhere. It's your worst nightmare. We back and they all scared. Every year is our year. The defense is top tier. Whenever you see that red and blue, it's a new era. They too scared of us. I don't know who said it was over, but they lied. The truth never miss, kicking down the door like who let him in. We been grinding and we ain't worried about the small talk. We big timers.
Yeah, can't believe it, we ain't leaving. Yeah, we achieving, can't be beaten. Say it loud, say it proud from the top of my lungs. Hometown, sacred crown, you ain't trying with us. Around this time, you really can't deny. You can't run, you can't hide when the Patriot comes.
All right. Welcome to the Patriots Friday Night Lights podcast, brought to you by the Boston Sports Entertainment Network. Patriots just came off a loss to the Miami Dolphins, 34-15. Game went exactly how we thought it was going to be. Just a disaster. It's always a disaster in Miami is what it is. It really wasn't that unexpected. I think the defense played worse than I was hoping, especially with Christian Gonzalez being out there. But, I mean, Jonnu Smith had 87 yards on us and a touchdown. Waddle had 144 yards and a touchdown. Those two we couldn't stop them. We stopped the run. We stopped Tyreek, but those two just tore us apart.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, and I feel like the coaching staff is using too much to try to, hide behind the roster, oh, well, the world don't think we got talent. So we're going to more so make it look like it was the talent rather than the coaching. That, I don't know, man. It just seems like every week we go in, aside from the players, at least when Bill was there, we always got a chance to win because we knew, you know what I mean? Bill
we always trusted the defense. We knew the defense was going to step up. But when we face these offenses that have two or more super playmakers, like we did against the Rams, we just can't handle it. And it's crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like that comes from them just I wish I could just sit in on a game plan meeting. Honestly,
I know.
Just literally sit down and try to figure out what exactly is it that is going on, or you know what I mean? Because there are some regression from some of the star players. You know, Kyle Duggar had a bad game. Michael Winu hasn't really, lived up to what you thought. But honestly, I could just, and I could be wrong, but I kind of chalk it up to maybe a scheme change. You understand what I'm saying? Because Michael Winu, Alex Van Pelt likes to run that the West Coast zone run, and which is half the league is running it. Michael Winu's more of a power gap blocking offensive lineman. You know what I mean? Protect his gap, get up, take his man, move him instead of moving and blocking in the area and things like that. So I feel like we do miss that from as far as a coaching standpoint, as far as they can identify what player goes where and where they're gonna fit, because there's no reason why DeMontre Jacobs should have been in that game the whole game. And if it's they had depth issues or whatever the case may be, bro, nobody else could have possibly played worse than what he was playing.
Yeah, him and Lowe, right? Both tackles were just it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from offensive tackles in an entire game.
Made a rookie look good. He literally made, Chalk Robinson's a good player, but he literally made an undersized defensive end look good. What he got, about 2-3
Chubb
sacks?
never got there. One of the sacks, he didn't even get touched, and they were like, "Oh, Chubb Robinson, he's so good." He didn't even get touched
at all.
We couldn't even get past him. He just ran by. We couldn't even
touch
him.
Was simply just too slow for him. The dude runs a 4.4. I think he broke the defensive end record in the combine for being the fastest defensive end. Usually somebody breaks it every year, but Chuck Robinson, he's a hell of an athlete. So it's as to why they just kept him in the game, My girlfriend's sitting there watching the game with me, and I'm literally telling her, I'm like, watch 75. Every play, watch 75. And it became so evident, like to the point she can't even see it.
That's why he had like 3 false starts because he was trying to keep up with them, and like the offensive staff just didn't try to figure out. Like, there's unless he's like our fastest offensive tackle, which I extremely doubt. There's just no way. He's so pathetically slow. And like, I mean, the penalties were just insane. And I think that's just them just trying to make up for the fact that they're outmatched.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I just feel like Gerard Mayo and the coaching staff and everything, like to come out and make a comment talking about some, oh, well, once you cross those white lines, there's nothing we can do. Well, what if they're playing their ass off and across these white lines, but they're doing what you told them to do and it's not working out?
Because that's a quote that Bill Belichick could get away with, not a rookie head coach who's 3 and.
But Belichick would never say that because
that's the thing, he wouldn't. But like Mayo's like the last person who should ever be saying something like that.
Right, because it's like, you ever talk to somebody where it's like they say something and then you like thinking, why would they say that? But it's like, hold up, they're speaking candidly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he put much thought into it. Like, oh, I'm about to throw my players under the bus. But I think he was so into getting asked the questions and everything like that. And his subconscious just let that slip right out of his mouth. And it's just like, we sit here and, you know, now he wants to bring up about the Eberflus situation and all that. Miss me. You know what I mean? Yeah, that was stupid. But we're not going to gang up on one coach that got fired with a rookie quarterback to say, oh, well, I don't want to make that mistake. So I want to know how I don't do that. To kind of like bubble yourself up when it's almost like, dude, you almost as bad as Eberflus. Like, anybody can say and tell me, oh, it's the first season. You got to give it time. This, that, and the third. Give it time to do what exactly? Because like I said, we spoke about it in length last week, so I'm not even going to go too crazy with it. But that draft is looking like a complete miss. From multiple points, like I said, you had a chance. You waited until the 3rd round to take an offensive lineman that we don't even see on the field. I'm not sure. Is he still hurt?
I saw Layden's practicing right now, and then Caden is hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you took 2 offensive linemen, and for whatever reason, what did you take another guard for? I don't know, because Bill had just spent 2 picks the draft before, taking Antonio Mafe and City So. Not to mention Cole Strange was taken the year before that. Yeah, and New England has always, you know, try to go into the later round to get their tackles because it just seems like whatever talent that's coming off the front end and whoever's picking those picks on the front end, it's not good. Because we can literally go down the line and show that the Patriots literally has a history. Under Bill Belichick, they develop late round players or undrafted players. Like I said, even in the Tom Brady era, it wasn't a lot of these dudes that you saying that were hitting, but see, they were winning. You understand what I'm saying? We're winning, so it wasn't as big of an issue. So now when the game changed, this is what we had. But like I said, I throw caution to, like, I just don't understand it. It's like, all right, Bill's out the building. You guys said that was the problem because clearly it wasn't a coaching thing. All right, you said the front office thing was a problem. You kept the whole scouting team. And not to mention, you got progressively worse at defensive coordinator. You got worse at head coach. And you also got worse at offensive coordinator. You got better at quarterback. But like I said, we love Drake May. That's an obvious pick. But you demoted a lot to elevate, you know, that one position, which is, yeah, we got it right. But I'm just worried about the people that's around him now. Because, all right, let's just say this Van Pelt thing doesn't work. You guys want to put it on the talent this year? So what happens when we're supposed to have a comparable team next year and he can't call the plays right or something else goes wrong? Now we're going to have to give our quarterback a new offensive coordinator 3 years into his rookie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know that they're all going to keep their job because of Drake. They're going to have one more year. All of them are going to. At least one more year just because of Drake.
But
which is scary.
What do you say about the miss on receiver again? You know, or the You literally gave no urgency to address the offensive line. If it was that paramount to you, that clearly we're seeing that there's a talent gap from the offensive line as of last year to the offensive line this year.
Yeah, that has to be the most
You should have
glaring.
been a little bit more aggressive to
Yeah.
come back up in the first round. You were trying to trade ahead of Buffalo to get Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, there's no way they didn't notice that the offensive line was a disaster. I mean, it is by far the worst unit in football. Like no other offensive line is close to how bad it is. I think our offensive line is worse than the receiving corps, just comparable to the NFL, and they both are terrible.
Yeah, because how much are we going to sit here and blame on talent? Like talent doesn't get you beat bad every week. They're in the NFL. Like seriously, because that's like last week. If anybody would have said that the point spread on New England's game was fucking 17 points, my bad. I'm cursing on there. I apologize. But
yeah.
if they said that it was 17 points or something, I'm pretty sure the most gambling people would probably go against that 17 points. Because realistically, we're not looking at blowout every week. So I don't care if you're getting blown out, coach. That's the coach and the players. All right, we can get on the players all we want, but there has been multiple times this year that the Patriots have gotten blown out. Even last year with Mac Jones as the quarterback, they lost 8 one-score games.
Right.
So people can miss me with this with Gerard and give him time and everything else. Listen, all it was it seemed like a rush move, and we would assume that these guys make millions, that they probably made the right decision of what they needed to do in that situation. Literally, it looks like everybody's scrambling and they don't know what they're doing.
Well, a perfect example is the Miami game, right? Our offensive tackles obviously aren't really talented enough to be starting, but the issue was, right, they didn't have talent. They played the whole game, and then the coaching staff never made a change. So they just had these guys who were like second and third stringers just getting their ass beat the entire game. Like there's no adjustment. So like there was a lack of talent, and then the coaching never like took him out. It's like when a pitcher throws for 150 pitches in the last 2 innings, he's just getting smoked, and the coach doesn't take him out.
And then not to mention, to add insult to injury, a former player who was a good player in Tennessee, was not a good player in New England, came back, played this and torched you. When you played against the Kansas City Chiefs, wait, did we play the Chiefs this year?
No.
No, I'm thinking about Madden. I'm thinking about how somebody was getting off on me with Juju Smith-Schuster.
Okay. We did face someone though, I thought, with a former player.
Yeah. And it
doesn't matter, but it's
man. And like I said, like if you're gonna sit here and tell me that draft issues and the free agency issues is gonna be the same again, but we no longer have Bill and it's the same coaching staff, that don't make sense to me. That literally makes no sense to me. Where it's like, oh yeah, they gave all Bill that power. Bill's coaching during the season. Who the hell are these scouts that's going to sit in the stand and watch these players? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Kraft, the main reason why Kraft gave Bill that job, he said he earned it. No, because he understood the salary cap when Robert Kraft did it. And guess what? That was a way for Robert Kraft to make money. And then when Bill had to spend that money, 2 years later, he was out the door. And I'm trying to listen. And it's my opinion. You know what I mean? I could be wrong, but it just seems like everybody that they got on that coaching staff, they got for the low. Because it seems like a safe pick as far as, if it doesn't work out, we don't pay these guys a lot of money. We just get them out of here. Get a whole new coaching staff here.
Yeah, it's a lot of self-promotion, former players. I mean, one of them is the Bill Belichick's son, right? We didn't really get people from other teams for the most part. I think our special teams coordinator we got from the Rams, right? Wasn't he on the Rams before or something like that?
Yeah.
But, I mean, even then, we haven't signed anyone. It's all kind of built within the organization.
And it's not like a lot of people around the league is giving Alex Van Pelt all of this credit for Drake May. They literally are saying, from what I'm hearing from offensive coordinators, when they talk about the Patriots offense, they don't really do much. And, they're running the same offense that Alex Van Pelt was running in Cleveland, which got him fired because whether we can say that it was or it wasn't, but obviously they paid a quarterback $230 million, and that wasn't working out. As to where Deshaun Watson can't play no more, or it was the system, maybe a little bit of both. Who knows? You know what I mean? I don't know, but I never understood what was the Van Pelt hire about when he literally just lost his job. And I know it probably got something to do with him working with Rodgers as being a quarterback's coach.
That was the big thing, because that was the same with our GM too. They were all within that Rodgers kind of group. So I think that was just their big thing. The whole offseason was to build a quarterback and to draft a quarterback and to be able to develop it. And that's who they got. But then everything else was kind of pushed to the side, just developmental wise.
Yeah, in my opinion, like I said, I'm not there. So he could have developed Drake to a certain extent. I don't know. Like, to me, Drake May looks the part. He looks about the same as he was in college. I've been saying this for months. I was okay with the other two going ahead of him. That's who I wanted. You know what I mean? You can make the argument that Drake May could have been the number one pick in the draft. It wasn't like it was just absurd or anything else. But no, everybody wants to fall in love with Caleb or whatever the case may be, which is fine by me. 100% fine. Washington ain't touch him. Chicago didn't touch him. Fine, because clearly, like I said, like me just being like, and I'm still early in it. Well, overall I know football, but now, I'm trying to get more into my own personal scouting. You know what I mean? So Drake May had the most upside out of all of them, because realistic, if you sit all three of them beside each other and you say, well, listen, I want a prototype American, American football quarterback, they're going to point to May. 6'4", over 220 pounds, strong arm, mobility. He seems like he just loves football, has a great understanding of the game. You know what I mean? The only knock on May was that he was raw. According to y'all, he's raw. Now, what's the knocks on?
I think the whole raw thing is kind of ridiculous. He just had like bad footwork, but he was still before Jaden Daniels had that crazy year. I mean, he was projected to be the number one quarterback.
Yeah,
and this footwork thing, I mean, clearly it was over dramatic because his footwork's fine and he's killing it. The whole raw thing, I think. I mean, luckily for us, it was enough for teams to make him fall to third, but I think it was just so ridiculous. He's an incredible talent, and he always was.
Yeah, because it's like these dudes coming into the draft, who are you comparing them to, or their game as relative to? Is just an overall standard of a pro, or he's raw compared to who? A Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, or like raw compared to who? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Raw about whose metrics? Because, like you said, Jaden Daniels too, not taking nothing away from him, but last couple weeks, you see how they've been quiet. Or last year they wanted to anoint it. CJ Stroud, I believe, is a good player, but they wanted to anoint him a crown. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in the second half since week 6.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Williams, I mean, if it wasn't for the second half of the Lions game, he looked atrocious too. And I mean, like you said, he gets out of the pocket and then he just throws it super wide. Like you were saying that like the height thing was an issue. You can't really stay in the pocket and make a throw.
Yeah.
You gotta have to scramble out, but the play call doesn't really call for that. They're not really scheming well for him.
And that's what I'm saying. The only way they're going to put up consistent points, they're going to have to play a little bit of backyard football with him.
Right.
I mean, hey, Caleb, we're going to hand the ball off these times, and we're going to let you know when we're going to give you that play where we need you to kind of, you know what I mean? Now, granted, Detroit was most certainly leaving a little bit too many holes in the middle of the field where he was getting out of it, where he can kind of pull up and make some throws. That's what you want to stop him from doing. All of that running around and then getting out the pocket to go up. And once you get him on his drops and you get pressure on his face, get him on the ground. Close that pocket in around him. Because 9 times out of 10, he's either going to run out to the left side and try to find something, and he's probably going to do something stupid and try to throw back across his body over to the right side. Mm-hmm. Or he's going to keep pushing it back and maybe try to run off to his right and get it out to the right. But, not to get in too far into everybody else's situation. It's just like, I just don't get it with this front office. And I'm guessing they're trying to go for more of a Green Bay approach. But if anybody's expecting the Patriots to take a receiver in the first round this year, that's not happening. Because if you're taking a Green Bay approach, they never take wide receivers in the first round. Ever.
Yeah. No.
They either take a offensive lineman or a defensive player. That's why you look at Green Bay and you look at what they did yesterday. You see how all those edges they had? They've been loading up on those dudes for years. Rashawn Gary, they got a Kingsley Abari from South Carolina, I believe he came in last year. Lucas Van Ness, he's a rookie. Did Van Ness come in this year or last year?
I want to say last year.
Yeah, but he's come. Yeah, it was last year. And then you get an Edwin Cooper in there who can play on the edge, but also can play inside linebacker. And then you look around. Obviously, you just look around at their defense. There's first round picks all over that defense. I can name at least probably about 6 or 7, 8 of them.
Walker, yeah, they've always been.
Vontae Walker. McKinley was a second round pick. Who's the corner? Eric Stokes. He was a first round pick. Jair Alexander was a first round pick. Yeah. Rashawn Gary was a first round pick. Lucas Van Ness was a first round pick. I just said his name. Edwin Cooper. Wait, no, they got him in the third round, if I'm not mistaken, ain't it? Or third or second.
I have no idea.
Great player though. But what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like, can you possibly just miss scouting every time like that? Like, what do you think? Because it's mind-boggling to me.
I feel like offensively, we've always I feel like at least the past 5 years, we've struggled offensively to scout. But defensively, I feel like we've always been solid. I mean, Marcus Jones was a good find. Jack Jones at first was pretty good. I mean, Gonzo, Keon White, Duggar was a second round. I feel like we've always been able to find defensive players and been able to kind of have them be starters right away. But offensively, it's been terrible. Right? Yeah, right, Bill.
That was Bill.
And, I mean, the fact that, receiving wise, for it to be that bad, and then our offensive line, for it to be that bad, it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't even be possible. A Michael Wenwu is the only one recently, but he's a guard. He's not he's one of the least important positions on the line.
Fifth round pick.
Right.
I mean, it's the late picks. It's the late picks. I don't know what it is with this team. The late picks are usually, I'm not saying that they're burning the world down, but there have been some that played on this team that has become, prominent names in the NFL, like a Edelman or obviously a Brady coming out of the 6th rounder. Even Trent Brown. Even though I believe he was drafted by the Raiders, but he was a 7th round pick. He had a couple of first years with New England. Bro, I can go down the list.
Right. I mean, it's forever. That's always been the story, but it's the struggling is continuing because at least then, we had Brady who could make those guys better. Drake seems to be that kind of a quarterback who can make players better, but we're not there yet. Right,
I want to get on that
hasn't been there for 5 years. Drake's not the guy yet, and we're still drafting as if we have that kind of a quarterback who will just make everything better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's clearly not, and it hasn't been. And it's scary how bad of drafting we're. Brady's made it so offensively, we've always drafted kind of on the lower side of the league, but we had Brady and we had Gronk and we had Edelman, right, and it was fine. Now we might have Drake, but besides that, we've had nothing else, and it's just it just shows so obvious that we just can't draft on the offense, And it's just years after years of building up, and then Brady leaving, and then it's just a complete disaster. And it seems like it's continuing. I mean, right, Jalen Polk is arguably the worst starting receiver in football.
I was hoping you didn't say that name, bro.
Is the worst offensive line in the entire league.
Yeah.
We can't run the ball. Javon Baker hasn't seen the field. The offensive line we drafted are hurt. Layden might be back. And then Marcus Dial seems to be the only starter besides Drake May to actually get playing time and do halfway decent. And he was the only defensive player we took. And he was like the 6th round pick.
And another thing I want to pick the bone with too. Oh, like, yo, I am so like livid with this coaching staff. It's, in my opinion, the best wide receiver on that team. I don't know why he's not getting on the field. Maybe he's messing up in practice and he's not getting the book down right. Maybe it's not what's going on in between, the hash mark. Javon Baker. Now, if you start starting Baker and he looks better than Pope long term, what did you use that second round pick on Pope for if you felt like you can get a wide receiver in the 4th round that you could use? I just think the Patriots honestly was just picking stuff because you literally took wide receiver in 2 rounds. And we can make the argument that that is still a need, that they're going to have to address that need now because you guys just botched it again. Because, all right, obviously you're saying Bill botched it with the N'Keal Harry pick from 2019, and he let Jacoby Myers walk out, and we know the whole story. So now, how do you justify that was looking like clearly one receiver, whether he's a head problem, he can't get his playbook right or whatever, according to y'all, for whatever reason, you pulled the kid off of kickoffs for what exactly? I don't know. You saying it didn't turn out to how you hoped. Gerard, what was he supposed to run a touchdown his first kickoff?
Right, the kid doesn't play. Like, it's his first time.
That's what I'm saying. Shit. But to make a comment and say that these next 5 games is critical for the wide receiving group and the offensive line.
Yeah, he's like that.
Playing everybody in your wide receiver group.
That was something I wanted to bring up. Was that quote that he had was that the rest of the season is kind of to determine who's going to be on the team, who's not. How do we not know that by now? Like, we should know who. Like, if you're not playing, you're not going to be on the team because you clearly shouldn't be in the NFL.
He shouldn't be on the team. Listen, get your jersey putting out. What's that? Wall of Fame or whatever. All right, Gerard, you were a good player, but this coaching, I don't care what nobody say. I'm done with him. I'm done because it doesn't even make sense. And then when I hear the backstory of how you got the job and who you were before you even put your feet in that role, it don't make sense to me. Don't make no sense to me. Doesn't make any type of sense to me because you wasn't even the defensive coordinator for real. You ran the meetings. Steve Belichick was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. The only thing I like about Gerard is it seems like his team is behind him. But once this Colts game happens, we're not winning a single game. We're facing a gauntlet after the bye week. And I think that's when things can get really freaking ugly. And we'll actually might start seeing some players get pissed off.
And I challenge anybody that's reporting about the Patriots or anything when they want to keep going back and throwing shade at Bill and everything. Go back and look 8 one-score games last year. There was at a point in time where who was it? Minnesota was winning all these one-score games.
Yeah, they were 8-1.
Yeah, they went to the playoffs and lost. And you want to know what I seen on ESPN? Though they were winning all these one-score games, they actually had the point differential and all the stats of a 7-9 team.
Yeah, I think they had a negative point differential at the end of the season.
But see, this is stuff that people don't want to talk about leading up to this type of stuff and everything else. And that's why I just feel like the NFL has created a problem for itself from the way that they do their coaching cycles, the way that they pay the players. I'm not saying that nobody shouldn't get paid the money, but obviously, just to give you an example, being that the money went up for left tackles, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends, the running back had to suffer. So now,
and they're killing it.
It's all about a lot of teams in we don't need a star running back. We'll get one in the 3rd or 4th rounds. And now it seems like every running back that was an all-star on his former team is having a good season this year and already over 1,000 yards. You got
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs,
Saquon's arguably
Saquon,
MVP.
Derrick Henry. You know, so it's like, as to Patriots, as to why maybe y'all didn't try to take a crack at any of those guys in free. Listen, you already at the bottom. So at this point, nothing everything makes sense at this point. Like I said, if DeMontre Jacobs, why is he out there the whole game? Bro, he sucks. You can't tell me the dude that's behind him sucks even more. And if he does, then I guess I would have to live with it. But you
Well,
at least
even then, that shouldn't even matter. Like, the guy lost his job. Like, he should have been losing his job. Right? It doesn't matter if the guy behind him is worse. He did so bad that he doesn't deserve to be on the field.
Who did
Put
they
the
cut
other
last
guy in.
week? For
Michael Jordan, which we just signed back. He's on the practice squad. So
Bro,
it doesn't even matter.
Listen.
It's like, it doesn't matter who's worse. Like, it's like the Jalen Pope.
It doesn't matter.
Who
It
cares?
doesn't matter.
They aren't good enough. Put someone else in. Give them a shot. If they suck, take them out. Put someone else in. It doesn't matter who's worse. They all suck.
You do it to the quarterback all the time.
Right, yeah. Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, that fucking disaster.
Quarterbacks get pulled out when they're not playing well. Over the course of a game, you already know the backup comes in. It puts a spark in there. I remember in the Tennessee game, the moment somebody got pressure on May off the edge, and DeMontre Jacobs, I believe, was the tackle. What happened? They moved Michael Winu back to right tackle.
Right.
So, if you seen that the threat really was coming off the edge and maybe you didn't game plan for this rookie, how many times you going to go in DeMontre Jacobs' ear and tell, hey, he's just a rookie, do this, do that. But every time they run the replay, I'm seeing that Chuck Robinson is already on his hips before freaking DeMontre Jacobs even gets out of his stance. And clearly, schematically, shout out to Miami. Because clearly, schematically, that's where they put him at. And they put him at for a reason. Because usually in that situation, on that side of the field, I'm going to be honest, usually there's a power rusher there. Somebody that's more good with the bull rush. And I think DeMontre Jacobs probably would have had a better chance against that. Had he had a dude that wasn't as quick and was just trying to overpower it, you know what I mean? Not much finesse with it. But no, they stuck their rookie fast defensive end out there, and he had a field day.
Yeah, and then they realized, oh, we don't even have to like adjust anything. We don't have to change it up. Let's just do it the entire game. Because the Patriots coaching staff is doing shit.
Before I even get too far beside myself, because we're sitting here talking about Chuck Robinson, I've yet to even address the fact that Jalen Ramsey got free on a blitz twice. He come twice did they run that blitz, and nobody picked it up. And you want to know what I know? I never seen Drake May made it audible at the line or even try to identify it or anything. Y'all got that look a couple of times in the game. So that's going to tell me Drake May does not have a lot of say-so at the line of scrimmage. And probably because he's a rookie, you know what I mean? They probably don't want to throw too much on his plate as far as like the sophisticatedness of changing a lot of things within the offense at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
He gets to play. It's an easy, simplistic play, something on Madden. Read your red route, not there yet. Ooh, left, right, up,
right.
down.
And he might only get like, one play to go up there. Like some quarterbacks get like, okay, here's the play, but then if you see this is the other play that you'll call. If you see this is the other play. So they go up with 3. He might only be going up with 1. So he goes up there, he's like, well, fuck, that guy's clearly gonna blitz, but I've got nothing to change it.
Right.
Like, that could be happening.
Because it's like AVP. How much attention? All right, yeah, you can sit up around Drake May all you want to. He's gonna be fine without you. I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he
says
that personality.
Develop the rest of the offense, because literally it seemed like that is all y'all care about. Which is like, shout out to Drake May. But it's like there's a whole nother offense that needs to be taken care of. Alex Van Pelt, you got quarterback coaches that have reputable names there for a reason. So like I said, it could be too many chefs in the kitchen. We're sitting here giving him credit. And it could be somebody else behind the scene. You understand what I'm saying? It could be
Right.
somebody else behind the scene. Everybody's like, oh, well, they make the Drake May pick and this, that, and the third. Okay. But New England still has a problem. They have an offensive problem, and it's so bad of an offensive problem. That's what led to Matt Patricia being the offensive coordinator, because Bill likes to promote from within. When Josh McDaniels left, he did not have anybody that was a longtime offensive staff member on his staff that could possibly run that offense. That's why Matt Patricia was put in the place that he was in.
Yeah,
That's why Alex Van Pelt is on our staff right now. They do not have anybody on that offensive staff that has that type of prowess or like effect on the offense that we feel like we getting good things out of this.
Yeah, and the only person we've hired outside of the team was Bill O'Brien, but he was already on the team like a few years back. Like it wasn't like a new face or anything like that.
Right.
It would have been fun to have Bill O'Brien with Drake May, but is what it is at this point. But yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to share our. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing. Sharing the feed.
I kind of wanted to get right. Jabril Peppers just got reinstated. Looks like he actually might get some playing time. I guess it's kind of a good time for him to come back with Kyle Duggar struggling a little bit. I don't know how good Jabril's going to be. He's been out for a while, and he even said he was banged up with the 49ers.
I think Jabril's a warrior.
I love Jabril. I think he's a great player, but at this point, it's kind of like I don't know why we're really trying to bring him back, to be honest.
Yeah. At this point in the season, because I would say maybe because Jabril's a voice in the locker room. He can provide Jabril.
Right.
Jabril, between him and Judon, Jabril has been one of, if not the best player on defense. Gonzalez, like I tend to take him out of it just because he's obviously played 4 games last year, and you know what I mean.
Oh, I looked it up. It's looking like Gonzo's going to make the Pro Bowl. It hasn't been official, but it's looking like he's going to.
Yeah. So there's a Pro Bowl pick for Belichick that you guys complain about that he doesn't draft anything in the first round Pro Bowl pick. But Jabril does stabilize that secondary, because I feel like with a Jabril Peppers in, let's just say realistically, against the Rams. And this is just something I do when playing Madden. I move Jabril to the slot to have him play like a star role. We can be a linebacker, a slot corner, in the safety, and all of that. So I feel like in real life that does kind of help them out, because in a situation where you may need to take a Marcus Jones or somebody off the field, you can ask Jabril to take a hold of that slot, move Gonzo and Jonathan Jones outside, probably move Duggar up to free safety. I don't love him too much controlling the back end like that, but then put Apu down at the strong safety position.
I think it would be nice if we got Jabril like 2 weeks ago against like the Rams in Miami, because it was the middle of the field that they were just tearing us apart in. And I feel like if we kept Jabril there, right, he's just going to hawk him down and just smoke him in the middle of the field. Any crossing routes, he's coming the other side and crushing them.
Bentley as well, because I feel like Bentley's IQ on the defense, because even though like he isn't a great pass coverage linebacker, but he's a pretty decent one. Considering
that's kind of the big thing is he's not to let them get yards at the contact.
Yeah, considering that he came out of Purdue at a 5th round pick. You know what I mean? He was mainly looked at as a run stopper. You know what I mean? Because he was supposed to be the Elandon Roberts like upgrade. Because I don't know if you remember, there was a time it was I think after we traded Collins, who was forced to play Elandon Roberts a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? But Elandon Roberts is he was a good run stopper, but he's only like what 5'11", 200 and maybe like 43 pounds. That's where you got Jawan Bentley's about 262, 240. Can do everything he can do plus more. So I remember the pick well. And that's why I like Bentley. Guys like that, like those are him and Dietrich Wise and all that. Because when I was thinking, I think they all came in the same draft. But these are Wise came in 2017. Manning came in 2018. But those are dudes that are you don't want to let them out of the locker room because their voices. You know what I mean? Even they obviously got to play on the field, but I would want them around to groom a Ballmore and a Gonzalez and those guys like that to be the voice in the room. Even Kyle to a point. You know what I mean? Because I'm not out on Kyle Duggar after one game. You know,
No.
you feel what I'm saying? It's like everybody's like, oh, it looked like he was out of place. It was this, it was that. Go
Yeah,
holler.
Like that's just crazy.
Yeah, like go. Yeah, that I don't even because clearly he had his hands on 2 interceptions that he could have got. 2 times in a row, Kyle Douglas had his hands on that ball, but he dropped the pick. I think it was at the end of the half.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was 2 of them like at the
Yeah,
end
it was
of
like
the
in the end zone.
So we're not gonna act like Kyle Duggar has not made play after play for this team. That's why I don't even know about some of the dudes that's just up there reporting the team. Maybe they put it out there. Well, we'll know more to you guys because we talk to these people and stuff like that. I'm just saying right here, a lot of it don't make sense, and a lot of them like what they saying to do and things like that. You ain't looking at it from a coaching standpoint. It's either something that you done picked up from somewhere and saying what they should do or everything else, or even this. Kyle's not a bad player. Honestly, it looked more to me schematically the Patriots was just outmatched. Because there's no way in hell you want to sit here and tell me that you had the wrong player on the field all game and they were just getting whooped after whoop after whoop. A professional football player who spends more time practicing than he does playing. And he's going to get whooped repeatedly like that? Coach.
Not a single adjustment. And he was
Coach, right. Get him out of the situation. He's getting beat on these routes. Maybe you don't want him on that area on the field trying to run that specific coverage. You know what I mean? Maybe you try somebody else and move him back to what his strong suit is. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe somebody else that has more capabilities of covering that role or whatever the case may be. You're a coach. You got to mix and match. There's literally no creativity with this team. And every time I hear somebody talk about our offense or our style of play, they're talking about 1930 and 1920 play style of football. That's Madden stuff. Because literally the games, the plays on John Madden got them plays out of his own personal playbook. And obviously they might have changed over the years, but when was John Madden coaching?
Right. Yeah.
Vanilla as it is, as basic and as vanilla as it is. And they keep trying to win games like this, and it's just not going to work. It's not going to work when these other teams got more firepower. They got somebody on their offense that can break the game open at any given point.
Yeah, and we're gonna need to. This kind of goes into the game on Sunday against the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, I feel like, is our kryptonite. We really need to be able to scheme up trying to stop him. I know he's not having the best of years, but he's always a tough one against us. I'm honestly glad that Anthony Richardson's playing and not Joe Flacco, because I feel like Joe Flacco would have torn us apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe not at this stage. But then again, bro, we make every quarterback look good. Besides Caleb.
It's Joe Flacco. He's got some good games still left in him. He can throw. Anthony Richardson can't throw, so he has that on him. I think Anthony Richardson's, if we can play a complicated defense, I think we'll just
complicated.
Put him in a blender. Which sucks, yeah, because we're not gonna
look like they're capable of even doing that from a coaching standpoint. He looked like he's trying to be too complicated and be too cute, and he's getting figured out. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you ever did something where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and they ain't gonna fix. It's like, damn, this went bad. It went bad.
Yeah. I think Anthony Richardson's
going to scapegoat Covington.
Huh?
They're going to scapegoat Covington so bad, and I feel like, and it's my opinion, I feel like if you're going to scapegoat him, Van Pelt hasn't done nothing that shows you where it's like, oh, Van Pelt will get a hit on Drake May. Can we see Drake May finish a game? Do he not work on 2-minute offense? Like I said, I love Drake to death. You know, that's our quarterback. I'm not even putting a knock on him or anything else. But if they want to talk about this progression and everybody's happy and wait, pause. We do understand that twice in late game situations, when you haven't got any big plays all game, the Patriots have been down by 7 and they've been down by 3. Against Tennessee, the shortest route, I don't know what the shortest route was, but none of them were under 15 yards. Why are you coming out airing it out after you just went down by 3? You either can walk down, get the 3 points again, try to put the defense back out there, but they didn't look good because Mason Rudolph was looking good against us. Or it's like, listen, play through the progression of the game. Clearly, you got here because Drake May made a miraculous play at the end of the half. At the end of the game. To only come out and throw a pick at the end of the game because you want him to throw the ball out there against the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah, whenever we try to go for a win, the entire offensive scheme just completely changes.
The play call is
usually
bad.
You rush and you try to do like those big throws because either the time's running out or you don't they're playing like they have a good defense. Because like if you rush down there and you score and there's time left,
right,
then you're like, oh well, we have a good defense, so it's fine. So that's kind of how they're playing. But our defense has been playing exceptional in the last few weeks. I mean, we're letting up a ton of points, but they still are kind of scheming up at the end of the game, being like, oh, it's okay if they have the ball again. Like we have enough of the defense. We're just going to air it out and just get the big chunks and just move it down the field and not worry about them getting the ball back. When we should just keep it the same the whole game, like we were doing.
Know what they doing.
Just doing like 7-yard plays and just get it in, out of bounds. Just kind of just moving it down.
They don't know what they're doing.
Too, like we're acting like we don't have a good kicker. Joey Sly's solid. Like he hasn't done anything to really make me question his ability to, kick a 50-yard field goal.
This whole staff, honestly, you knew you was about to bring in a rookie quarterback and all that, and somehow you identified Gerard as being the next, for whatever reason. I don't care what nobody says about the record and the similarities between him and Bill the first year. Yeah, they were 3-11 in the first 11. Miss me. He can't coach. He can't coach. Like, literally to the point, it's like when the team step in some ish and they start to lose, they step further in it. Like, I've yet to see anything where I can be like, okay, yeah, the Patriots made some adjustments. Yeah, the defense played better in the second half against the Rams game. Yeah, the offense did too. And I actually seen Drake McWilliams orchestrate like a 94-yard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So he can do it. Why the hell, for God's name, why? It's happened repeatedly. Every time you have a chance to tie the game up or go and win it, you try to call a big play. That's not the players. That is not the players. Or the fact that you ran a 5'7", 170-pound Pop Douglas down the middle of the field on that play. And that's who Drake May was supposed to target.
Yeah.
That from that depth. You understand what I'm saying? However, what was that? 20-something yards?
Yeah, it was well beyond the stick.
Bro, that's a danger. Like, yeah, he was throwing the Downs, what's his name? Josh Downs in college and things. Bro, this is not college. Pop Douglas got to be pretty wide open downfield.
Well, that's the thing, is Drake can make those throws, but not to Demario Douglas when the entire game they weren't doing it. Right? That's a Javon Baker play that you should be doing. Like, get him out. That's what Javon Baker did in college. That's what he's done his entire career. That's the type of player you want to be throwing it to, not Demario Douglas. Right? Demario Douglas is, 5-7 yard route and just let him kind of take it to the house from there. He's not someone like, if they're playing too high safety, have him split it right in the middle. He's not that kind of player. He physically cannot do that. Right? It's not that he's not good enough. He physically isn't built to do that. And when we have players like Javon Baker, who literally is, and we're not giving him the opportunity to do something like that. Right? Because Drake can make that throw. And Drake, according to the coaches or whatever, made the right throw. Demario, there was some sort of miscommunication. I really think it was just like you said, it's just he wasn't the right player for
It was literally no point to take Baker and Pope. They almost like the same player. Literally, both of them were deep threats. Because they make good contested catches down the field, especially Baker. People say they see it in practice all the time. He makes miraculous plays or whatever the case. Javon Baker has hands. And Jalen Pope, too, to a certain extent. Javon Baker's definitely a more savvy route runner. Jalen Pope, in my opinion, I feel like he runs sloppy routes. And he kind of tries to, in college, getting it off the muscle into the DB. And, able to make hands or there was
so many contested because he wasn't really that open because his routes were crazy.
Exactly. Jalen Pope is not a separator. So, my opinion, they drafted Pope to try to fix that problem on the outside, to get them a big-bodied receiver that can make catches in a small area. You understand what I'm saying? That X receiver that can beat the press, run his route, and be where the quarterback needs him to be so the ball can come out timely. Or, things like that can go over the middle or sometimes crack down on a linebacker. They've yet to address that. They try to address it with N'Keal Harry. They try to bring in what's his name? Devontae Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And Mohamed Sanu. The Patriots still haven't got that outside dominant threat that would make a defense have to adjust, where they would have to look at something outside, and now Hunter Henry would have less coverage to go through, because clearly, the tight ends are the movers of this offense. Yeah, you got the running backs and everything else. It just seems like the game with the Patriots, to beat that team, you got to play in between the numbers.
Yeah. The entire tight
end. Anything lined up outside that number, outside those numbers, because you can have a 5th-round corner out there. You're not worried about it because they got 5th-round receivers and 7th-round receivers out. So there's really no mixed matches for no teams out there. Yeah, Pop's a beast, but like I said, it's just always a size limitation thing. So, the Pop thing doesn't help down in the red zone when we need a crunch or, we need bigger bodies and things like that. So just overall, like I said, I'm done putting this on the players because I feel like the coaching staff is hiding behind that. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like the coaching staff is hiding behind that. We don't expect to get it all in 1 year, but we'll be ready in this, that, and the third. Bro, you would never be able to convince me to play for a football team where I'm like, well, we don't got it this year. We just going to go out there and play and try to get us through some more games, and, we'll get some draft picks to get it. This is a game where dudes can not be playing the next day. You understand what I'm saying? So, to send that message to that locker room, that's crazy. That's why I can see why the reports came out last week. They're accepting of losing and things like that. That is mind-boggling to me. And the fact that they walked Jacoby Brissett out there for weeks, and you sat right here and you told us in our face that he gave us the best chance to win, and we knew was a lie because the offense was putrid. Literally to the point where it almost wasn't even capable of being ran. But you're sitting here telling me you got a 6'4", 230-pound savior sitting right there on the bench, but you didn't want to let him in the game. Oh, he's not ready. He's not this. He's not that. Then he comes in and he starts breaking all these different type of rookie records in that time span that he needed to. But he started 6 games later than the other 2 quarterbacks that y'all had out there, that other teams put out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking might happen with freaking Javon Baker, right? They keep on saying that he's not ready. He's built like the receiver that we need, and they're just not letting him play. They're saying he's getting more playing time. I don't fucking believe it. I just don't.
But why would you wait
it's so frustrating.
5 games into the season and you're about to go try to throw a lot of money at a wide receiver again? So guess what? Had y'all throw that $80 million and everything else at Calvin Ridley last year, yeah, you could have put that on Bill. Oh, yeah, he couldn't get a receiver in here. Oh, after this season, that's y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How long are y'all about to ride this out? Because like I said, Whether he's coming, Gerard didn't all but said the team sucks, and then he comes walks his word back. We're a soft football team across the board. Oh, I told the players there's nothing we can do for you when we go through the line. So basically, what you're saying is we gave them the game plan. They know it was this, that, and the third, but dudes aren't executing their plays. Okay, who isn't executing their plays, and what were they supposed to be doing?
Right.
Because you're not like they think somebody's crazy. It's hard for me to believe you get blown out. The players is not doing their job. Like I said last year, people said that was our worst team in the last 20 years, 4 wins. But in those 4 wins, in those 12 losses, 8 of those games you had a chance to win, but due to lack of offensive firepower, and sometimes Mac Jones just flat out throwing the ball to the other team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there was a couple games Mac Jones just single-handedly lost for them.
Yeah. Well, Colts last year.
Colts, Raiders. Against the Raiders, he took the sack. He took that safety.
Yep.
Who else was in that range where we only allowed 10 points to 3 teams straight and lost all of them? Shit, hell, they even had a chance to beat Kansas City last year. The Patriots played Kansas City darn good last year. And I think where a lot of people is where they're trying to get on Bill when he says something about Gerard Mayo saying that the defense is soft, and of course he'd say that when they don't have such and such guys. Do you know who the Patriots lost in week 4 last year? They lost Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
You can make the argument that those were their best players. But yet still they finished, I believe they were a top 10 defense.
Yeah, I mean, we had a solid defense all year.
So then that's what I'm telling people. This stuff with Gerard and give him time, and bro, I don't want to hear it no more, bro. Gerard's not a good coach. Those coaches on that staff, they're not good coaches. We might be we got the Bear staff now. All right, the whole Matt Eberflus, little fluky situation's over with. Gerard Mayo better be real careful. Because guess what? Usually when those rookie quarterbacks look good, but it seems like the coach ain't getting it right. See, nobody had any expectations for the Patriots, so that's why they really haven't went after him yet. Oh, next year.
That's the thing is Eberflus had the expectations and they didn't meet it.
He was a bad coach.
I'm telling you, Gerard and that whole coaching staff is going to be our coaching next year.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No expectations, and they got Drake. We're just going to have to deal with it, right? At least the Bears.
That's where they're going to get fired at. I feel like after next year, if it looks anything remotely close to here, I don't want to hear shit about winning 6 to 7 games. That's good. No, they should be making a push. Even if you don't get in the playoff, you should be making a push for the playoffs where in the last game of the season, you fighting for a spot at the very least.
Yeah, when you have a quarterback like Drake, you have to try to make playoffs every single year.
You have to. It's simple as that because who's sitting in the 7th seed right now?
Broncos, I think.
Like, come on. And look at what they were last year.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Yeah.
Competent coaching. A lot of people weren't big on Bo Nix or whatever. Bo Nix went to where he was supposed to go, where a lot of people said that he would fit in perfect. And Bo Nix is where he needs to be because Sean Payton actually can coach a game.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not going to act like Bo Nix, had he been on the Patriots, he'd be doing close to what Drake May is doing, or he would be doing what he's doing now in Denver. And not because of weaponry or anything like that. Who did we know as a number 1 in Denver before? Cortland Sutton?
Mm-hmm.
He's not having like this monster year. Obviously they traded Jerry Jeudy out of there. They got some newer receivers, Troy, the dude from Oregon, and
yeah, they have a great offensive line in on the Broncos. That's been the big thing.
Dudes that the Patriots could have signed in free agency.
Yeah,
I remember that free agency.
Yep.
So it's like this is in this right here. This is Kraft. Yeah, you would never know if Kraft actually knew how to run this team because we had two people that represented us well. I'm talking about the faces, Brady and Belichick.
Right. Yeah.
You really had to. The only time we started hearing about Bob Kraft is when the drama started. Deflategate, Spygate, everything else. You're just an owner, dude. And not to say that you're not responsible for bringing. Yeah, you traded that first round pick for Bill Belichick. Yes, and he in turn drafted the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. I get it. But that was almost
I would say
over
that
20 years
over
ago.
2 decades ago.
Yeah. If Belichick can't live off of what he did 2 decades ago, Kraft, obviously you're not going to get fired as the owner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like your son's doing you much help because, like I said, this is just from me from reading, being a historian of the team. Jonathan Kraft has a lot to do with this too because he's the analytical one.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
We stuck for another season, but
Yeah.
I feel like that's where the pressure is going to come in at. Is okay, yeah, they done fired all these other coaches and stuff that's supposed to be bad coaches and with these rookie quarterbacks and things like that. Watch when the expectations, because the world has seen what Drake May can do. So the expectation starts in free agency. That's going to be the first thing where people are judging you at. Then it's going to be the draft, then the product of the field. So they still got a whole 3 phases that they have to survive.
Yeah, if they don't get a top-tier receiver, a top-tier offensive tackle in free agency, it's already going to be a disaster. The next season,
nobody can outbid you. Nobody can outbid you.
No, and also
you have the most money by maybe about $50 million in cap space.
Also, like, what lineman or receiver wouldn't want to play with Drake May? With all that money, too? And you'd be the best tackle or best offensive lineman on the team, / you'd be the best receiver on the team. You're the number one guy with this incredible rookie quarterback, and you're going to make so much money. There's no reason for no one to sign with us.
I just hope that, we don't let Anthony Richardson athleticism overdo us. Because he isn't. When he gets rolling, he can get rolling. Have we seen it much? No. But the way that this defense has been ran, he got a smart offensive coach. They have a way better coaching staff. So I just don't want it to be that you're gonna fire Covington after this game. I'm not saying that he should be there, but dude, there's 4 games left in the season. Let him do what he does. Sorry that started. Let him do what he does. And then in the offseason, y'all got to have some hard talks. But me, honestly, the head coach got to go. But we're going to have to be stuck. We're going to have to be stuck.
Yeah, they're not going. Is what it is.
We're going to have to be stuck with it for a whole nother year at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I don't know how long Kraft is going to hold on to Mayo. What if it goes sideways in the middle of the year? Now you got to fire Mayo in the middle of the year. What are you going to put Van Pelt as the interim head coach? And don't tell me if things start going good, Alan Van Pelt's about to be a coaching candidate for the Patriots at the end of the year. No, send him out, or just push him back to being. Listen, you don't got to fire him from the coaching staff completely. Hey man, do you want to coach the quarterback? Or like I said, they work with him all the time. They know who's doing the most development of the quarterback. Gerard is not in a position to fire Alex Van Pelt because he needs an offensive mind he's a rookie coach. Like I said, there's no long-time offensive staff members on that staff.
Right.
He had to bring in a Van Pelt or somebody that at least knows the offense. So I feel like whatever's going inept on the offense and all that, Gerard ain't got no say so. That's between Elliott Wolf and Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah.
It might even be that they done split the team in 2. Yeah, Gerard, you take care of the defense, you take care. But dude wasn't even the one making the defensive game plans and none of that. He was running the meetings. I would assume that he knew how to do that. He's a fucking player.
Yeah, you'd
They're
think.
not giving that attention to detail versus knowing what needs to be adjusted on any given play. Like Belichick said it. Belichick said we would literally run the same coverages and just make adjustments off of that. So he already have a set plan, and then it's like, oh yeah, this not going. Okay, well the corner, I don't need you playing the middle flat, drop down to the underneath or whatever the case may be. It just seems like our coaching staff, I don't even know if they know how to make adjustments at this point.
I mean, they haven't.
They haven't, bro. It's been
They haven't.
blowout. Like literally, bro, we're getting blown out by teams that's supposed to be bad. Even though the Dolphins are on the up and up, we got blown out by the Jags. We got blown out by the fucking Dolphins.
Yeah, Jags and Titans, kind of. Titans.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mason Rudolph. When you see the Mason Rudolph sighting like that?
I know. Not even in college.
Yeah, Oklahoma State? Yeah, when he's at Oklahoma State. Yeah, he's from my native state. I know exactly who Mason Rudolph is. He's from South Carolina, but he went to Oklahoma State. Like, this is just, man, it's like, I just feel bad for those players, man, the players that we love, like, to tell them that, well, listen, put your body on the line, and the team that's already hard, that seems like they don't want to pay money anyway, you want them to put their body on the line for coaches that's not putting them in the best situation, and that basically all but conceded that this was going to be a lost year before the year even started. So if you already think you're going to lose before the year is going to come, you're going to coach like you're going to lose. The players are going to play like they're going to lose.
Yep. Well, we'll see how this game goes.
So
my score prediction, 17-14 Colts. I don't think it's going to be
he gave it to the Colts.
I have to. I can't predict the Patriots to ever win again.
Is Jonathan Taylor playing?
I think so.
Oh,
and he's never fun. So that's my score prediction.
I got it 24. I got it 24-20 Colts.
Okay.
I got it 24-20.
There's just no there's no hope for a win anymore.
Because it's like
it is what it is.
Jonathan Taylor plus Patriots run defense equals what?
Yeah, complete and utter disaster.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll be tweeting you. You'll be tweeting me.
Yeah, man. We'll be around.
All right.
Hopefully, man. I'm hoping, but
yeah.
Hey, man, they did it to us.
Yep.
Have a good one, though, brother.
Yeah. You too.
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Okay, do you feel like the talent you have here is good enough?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
What is your responsibility?
I'm just asking, do you think you've done enough to help Tom Brady?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati. Stupid thing.